All right, so we're back again for another lesson, and today is all about isolations. So we're venturing out into off-body tricks, and I'm so excited to share this one with you because this one is a trick that gets everyone excited. So anytime you go off to show your tricks off to friends and family, whether you're out at the park doing it just by yourself, it's really just a fun trick because it looks like an optical illusion. It literally looks like the hoop is suspended in space. Like, how is it possible? How is it moving this way, right? And so this is what I like to call an optical or a hooptical illusion, okay? And so there's a couple different hoop sizes that you can use here. I'm using a standard hoop size. It's a little bit smaller than the one that we used for the waist hooping, but it's still a larger hoop. And it's the same material that I use to make the beginner hoops. Okay, so it's a little bit heavier material, which will definitely tire your arms out faster. But if you stick with it, then you'll notice that your arm strength will get definitely stronger over time, and you won't even notice the weight of the hoop. But if you are working with a little bit of weaker arm muscles, it may be helpful to use a smaller hoop in the beginning that is lightweight or made out of polypro or HDPE versus the standard polyethylene tubing, okay? So it doesn't have to be this small, it can be somewhere in between these two sizes. But today I'm gonna use the bigger hoop because this is what I like to do for my drills. And I'm encouraging you to do the same. All right, so we're gonna start with the right hand facing up, palm gripping the hoop, and the fingertips and the knuckles are pointing up towards the sky. I'd like to call this hand at 12 o'clock, okay? Now from here, you'll rotate the arm over towards 9 o'clock and then down towards 6 o'clock, okay? From here, switch hands. So I'm gonna show you how to do it with one hand eventually, but just to learn, we're gonna start with one hand, okay? When you switch hands, you'll move over to 3 and then up to 12. Switch, over to 9, down to 6, switch, over to 3, up to 12, switch. All right? And then you'll notice that the hoop is framing out the face, right? So we don't want the hoop going in spirals around. We want the hoop stationary, but our arms are moving. So drop the hoop for a second. I just want to show you something. Draw a circle with your hand and let the circle be big. So you're drawing this big circle, letting the arm move around. Your arm is doing the motion. The hula hoop is staying in the same space, okay? So imagine that it's like the steering wheel of a car. The steering wheel of a car doesn't actually move up or down or side to side. It stays in the same space. Your arm has to do the turning, right? Your arm does more motion. So you can think of that the same way here with this trick. With the hand facing up, it's like driving a car and just moving the steering wheel side to side. And then once you get where you can't turn anymore, you grab the other hand and then you finish the circle. So just like you use two hands to drive a car, we're using two hands to make this isolation. All right. So oftentimes what I see in the beginning is the hula hoop is going in all different directions and it's not staying straight in space. My recommendation for you is to find either a mirror or a sliding glass door, a window, something where you can see your reflection, perhaps filming yourself if you can face your phone towards you and you can see actually what's filming in real time. Because when you see yourself, it makes it a lot easier to understand and correct where the hoop is in space versus, let's say if you record yourself and you try to watch after, then you're not doing it at the moment and it's gonna be harder to understand that spatial awareness, okay? So find something that you can see your reflection in. I promise you this is gonna speed up the process of learning this trick and you're gonna thank me for it later, okay? So that was with two hands. Now, just like we wanna do two directions or opposite directions with waist hooping and on-body hooping, the same thing should be said for off-body hooping. So I'm gonna start now with the left hand, palm facing up, hand is at 12 o'clock, and then turn the hoop, let the hoop frame out the body, and then lower it down to 6. Switch hands, over to 9, and then up to 12. Switch, over to 3, down to 6, and then you'll just keep drawing circles around, okay? You can switch it up, and this is fun. If you're doing this as practice or as drills, go one way, a few rotations, and then switch it up. And it'll take a while to smooth it out. You know, I've been doing this for over a decade, so don't get frustrated if yours doesn't look like how mine looks right now, because that's not the point. The point is that you're trying, you're practicing, you're dedicating 10 minutes a day to hooping, and you're doing this because it's fun, because you want to add some movement to your life, you want to get the blood flowing, perhaps you wanted to spice up your workouts a little bit. Whatever it is, you made a commitment to yourself to actually learn how to hoop. So instead of just rushing the process, enjoy the journey, right? Savor these moments in the beginning, because you'll only be a beginner once. So I can't stress that enough. I definitely understand the desire to want to rush through and get really good at something, but in reality, just have fun with the process and laugh when the hoop falls, and you know, get excited when you get it right, you know, and show it off to your friends and show it off to your family. Share your videos in the flow culture community, you know, whatever you want to do to get excited and to keep yourself motivated to keep going and to keep learning, okay? So now, if you want to learn how to do a one-handed isolation, I'm going to show you how to do that. Once again, we'll do both sides. So let's start with the right hand facing up, and then you'll turn the hoop over to 9, down to 6. This time, same hand over to 3, and you'll notice here that you literally cannot turn your arm anymore. You're at a roadblock, you've hit a wall, and you're probably thinking, well, how am I going to get it to turn around in a circle? Well, at this point, you're going to let go of the hoop and flex the fingers, let the hoop roll across the top of the hand, and you'll grip it right around 9 o'clock. Okay, so that was a very slow motion interpretation of what it will really do. It looks a little something like that. So you're just letting go, letting the hoop roll across the top of the hand, flex the fingers, so makes a little bit of a dip in the hand, and this will help guide the hoop to right in between the thumb and the index finger. Okay, because if you don't flex the fingers, what happens is the hoop can fall off the fingers, fall off your hands, and onto the ground. So that's why I really recommend flexing the fingers. Plus, it's actually a really good counter stretch for all the gripping that we do in our day-to-day lives. Plus, we're doing that kind of gripping here in the isolation anyways. So it's kind of cool because you're gripping and you're flexing. So you're getting 2 stretches in one trick. How cool is that? All right, so troubleshooting. This one is gonna take a lot of practice, right? So remember I said find a mirror, find a reflection, find a way to film yourself where you can see it in real time, and then keep practicing, keep practicing. Start with the 2 hands, and then you may transition into 1 after a couple rotations, okay? And just let the hoop graze across the top of the hand. And then don't worry about catching it up here at 12. You're just moving from 3 over to 9. 3 over to 9. 3 over to 9. Okay? So when you switch hands and you go over into the left hand, you may notice that one side is a little bit stronger than the other. For me, my right arm is stronger than my left arm. So I invite you, whichever side is your weakest, stay there a little bit longer. Practice just a few minutes more than you want to. Even if you completely feel like you suck in the beginning and you're really frustrated because the hoop is falling on the ground, you're not getting it, you're like, I just want to do my good side. Trust me, you're going to want to do both sides. Because once again, what happens is if you just focus on one side of the body, then you'll develop muscle imbalances, and then you'll actually be stagnant or find blockages in your flow. So when you're learning how to hoop dance and put everything together in combos, what you'll find is that you won't be able to transition through certain tricks because you haven't learned one trick on the other side. And you'll need to learn on one side to get it over here, and so on and so forth. So you're really limiting yourself if you only learn a trick on one side. So even though I know it's hard and it's not as fun, try to do both sides. And when you get in this interpretation with the left hand, when you get to 9 o'clock, you'll switch over to 3. So 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3. Okay, and you can see I'm not as good on this side. I practice with lighter weight hoops, but this is why I like to do the drills with the heavier hoops, because for one, it's a really good workout, gets the heart pumping. And for two, when you actually do switch to a lighter weight hoop eventually, you'll notice that it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to sustain. It almost feels like a feather, like nothing. There's absolutely, well, now I feel a little bit. When you do it a few times, you start to feel it. But in the beginning, yeah, it feels like nothing. So I know it feels like a lot right now. The hoop may be heavy, or maybe you are working with a smaller hoop, a lighter weight hoop, in which case, great, stay where you are. But just stick with it, because this trick takes some practice, but it's so much fun to learn. And like I said, everyone really loves this hoop trick. This is one of the crowd favorites for sure. And you can see why. A hooptical illusion. All right, keep practicing 10 minutes a day, and we'll see you on the next lesson.